Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's get started. And welcome to this today's webinar on 15 proven, and I've changed the title slightly, yet overlooked ideas for quickly filling your sales pipeline. I'm Clifton Warren. I'm the principal of Corporate Eye Consulting, and I do a lot of work in the financial services area. Matter of fact, the majority of my work's in the financial services area, dealing with entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals that are looking to develop a thriving business as well as have a successful career. And you can have it all when you get this all working well for you. One of the most requested topics that I have when I work with people is, how do you fill your sales pipeline? How do you get your activity going? What are some of the things you can do to, to get that moving? And this is, by the way, prospecting, developing your sales pipeline is the toughest job that we have as professionals. And so today I want to give you some ideas and some techniques that can work for you. I have a poll that I will launch shortly. I just want to get an idea of how many techniques you currently use. You can fill that out during the session here. And also there's Q&A. So if you have questions, you can certainly ask of it during the webinar, and I will respond. I'll respond to it. You will receive a copy of the slides, and you'll receive a copy of the actual presentation as you're seeing now. So let's go ahead and get started. As more people join us, they can certainly catch up. We have a lot of great material to cover. So I guess the primary objective I want to cover with you today is how to maximize your opportunities with your existing clients. I'm also going to discuss how to nurture prospective clients. These are people that are in your sales pipeline but are not ready to buy for various reasons. We're going to look at how to develop centers of influences so you can get some great referrals, letters of introductions, and things like that happening for you. I'm also going to discuss how to obtain referrals from non-competing professionals to help you get that flow of business going. And more importantly, how do you allocate your time and resources, to make sure you can get some of this done or all of it done. The ideas, there's 15 ideas today, and they're spread across 4 categories. They're spread across existing clients, prospective clients, centers of influences, and what I call new opportunities. These are targets of opportunities, or just things you see out there in the universe that you want to attract as prospective clients. Today's session is focused on B2B. In other words, business to business clients, less so on domestic. I know we have a range of professionals on this webinar today, but the primary focus today is about business to business clients. However, these techniques will work for business to consumer clients, and of course, when I'm speaking about buyers and things like that, I'm speaking about individuals along the way there. So these techniques have multi-purposes. Just want to give you some kind of idea of where we're going here. When you look at marketing techniques, there are some that work better than others, and this is from financial services. This is just a survey of what's working, what's not working. We look at direct mail, you got about 100-to-1 ratio. That's contact to appointment ratio. Cold calling is about 20-to-1. So you can see that you have to do a lot of those things to get an appointment and then hopefully fill your pipeline. So you have to do a lot of activity. Center of influence, COI's center of influence is about 10-to-1. And you can see seminars, referrals, networking is about a 2-to-1 ratio. What my goal today is to show you and provide you information that's going to get you in around that 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio. We all have to do marketing. We all have to do prospecting. I want to show you how you can do it effectively and efficiently. And, most professionals have busy practices, busy portfolios. And so if you have to do it, how can you get the greatest return on your investment along the way? So the first category of techniques I want to discuss with you today is your existing clients. And these are people that are already doing business with you. They love you, they trust you, they respect you, and more importantly, they know you. This is your proprietary marketing database. No one else can duplicate this. These people belong to you. But yet I see it quite often that these people are underserviced, not seen often enough. And so I want to show you 3 techniques you can use that's going to dramatically improve your ability to get referrals, introductions with your existing clients, your most valuable asset. Matter of fact, if you get these down well, you may not have to do any other kind of prospecting along the way. The first technique is LinkedIn referral marketing. And most people, most individuals, most professionals I see are on LinkedIn. And by the way, just to back up for a second, one of the greatest advantages, one of the greatest leaps that we've seen in marketing and financial services or in sales in general is the use of technology. You know, all other methods have stayed the same for many years. And social media has come into play over the last 10 years. The best tool out there when it comes to marketing is LinkedIn. And there's Facebook, there's Google+, there's Twitter, but LinkedIn is specifically designed for particularly B2B marketers to identify prospects, convert those into appointments. However, majority of people that I see are using LinkedIn the wrong way. So the first thing I'm showing you here is LinkedIn referral marketing is being proactive with LinkedIn. And you know, the first thing you want to do is, and by the way, before I go any further, on each technique I'm going to show you there, I'm going to describe what it is and how to implement it. And there'll be, in a few of them, there'll be sample scripts or sample wording you can use to help get you started. You'll get a copy of these slides as well as the recording. But LinkedIn is LinkedIn referral. You want to take this powerful tool and use it to establish some business connections. So the first thing you want to do is connect with your top clients on LinkedIn. Now, when I mean your top clients, I'm focusing here on your category A and B clients, the top 15 to 20% of clients by revenue. These are the ones we want to focus on, and the techniques I'm mentioning here today are focused just on that. The C's and your others, they probably contribute 20%. So that's the 80-20 rule in reverse. So I'm focusing on your A and B clients. And if you don't have those categorized, it's critical because these are the clients that need to be looked after. They're generating 80% of your revenue. So you want to connect with your top clients on LinkedIn. When you connect with your clients on LinkedIn, your top clients, the individual, your buyers, or your decision maker that you're dealing with, that allows you the opportunity to look at their network connections for ideal fits. Now, LinkedIn is the only tool that I know where you can look at someone's private address book and not get in too much trouble. And it's there. So when you connect with your clients, you're going to be able to look at their connections. Most clients, and you'd be surprised, are on LinkedIn. It's just it's turned into one of those tools that everyone joins it. And so there's a good chance your top clients are going to be on there. When you have identified, when you have connected with your client on LinkedIn and you have connected with them, the next thing you want to do is look at their connections. And what you're looking for are possible clones, fits that could work for you. And the idea that you want to be able to duplicate your best clients. And so when you go through it, you want to look at possible fits. Now, you want to get 3 to 5 names and meet with your client. And the sample script you might use on the bottom there is, Mr. Client, Jane Smith is on my marketing list. And I notice you are connected with her on LinkedIn. Would you be comfortable with providing me with an introduction? Now, why is this work so well? Most times when we go to our clients and ask for referrals, they simply will say, I can't think of anyone at the moment. Give me a couple of cards, and if I think of anyone, I will contact you. What I'm doing in this technique, I'm priming the pump. I'm going to their network. I'm looking at individuals and organizations that could be a possible fit for me, and I'm bringing 3 to 5 names to my client when I see my client and asking them if they can help me. And in some cases, I might ask for a little background information, who they are, how they know them, and so forth. But essentially, I'm asking for help. And it's much easier if I bring someone a list of names instead of asking them who can they think of, because on the spot, no one can ever think of anyone. So LinkedIn referral marketing. Technique number 2 is related to this, and you're going to find a lot of the techniques we discussed today are connected to each other, or are interrelated and interconnected. So letter of introduction marketing, this helps take the chill out of a warm call and paves the way for an introduction. So instead of just asking for referrals, ask your client to provide you for an introduction. This can be either by phone, email, or in person. Now, this works well with the LinkedIn one. So for instance, if you've identified 2 to 3 clients and you 2 to 3 referral sources that are connected to your client, he or she has agreed for you to meet with them, the next step is to ask for a letter of introduction or email or phone. I've used certainly in person and email very effectively. I've had it, people do it for me very effectively. And what you're saying to your client is, so I don't appear as a stranger, would you be so kind to let Bill know that I'll be contacting them about X, whatever X is, whatever your value proposition is along the way. And that's very, very powerful. That way, when you go to place that call, you stand a very high chance of getting through and having a conversation with them. And all I want to do is have that conversation to get the ball rolling. So letter of introduction marketing. Technique number 3, this is very powerful, and it's actually one of my favorites when this is done correctly. This is client advisory board marketing. And what you're doing, you're taking your very best clients and centers of influences and making them part of your acquisition process. So first up, you want to identify 5 to 8 clients and hold a lunch or dinner with them, 3 times a year. Now, let's say if you have your category A clients, your top 20% clients, there might be, let's say there's 20 of them. You want to do, only 4 to 8 at a time. So let's make it 5. That means about 4 times a year, you want to hold a lunch or dinner with your very best clients. And what you're saying to your clients when you send out an invitation is that we're putting together a team of our best clients whose opinions we respect and use as a sounding board. Now, this is so powerful, I'm actually going to go into some additional steps of how you actually pull this together. I've participated in many of these. I've set several of these up for clients, and they've all have worked extremely well. It is the most powerful marketing technique you can do with your existing clients, particularly your mega and A clients. So the first thing you want to do, there's about 7 steps here. You want to send out an invitation about 2 to 3 weeks in advance using the script that I've shown below here. Once the clients are there, you want to quickly thank them for agreeing to be part of your advisory board. Give them the background, what it is, what it's about, what you're trying to achieve. After you've had dinner, the plates have been cleared, or the service is finished, you want to start stimulating conversation. And here are some things you want to start to certainly discuss. Firstly, you want to ask them, what are we doing well? What are the things that we are doing well as a firm? A second question, what could we be doing better? Third question, how can we improve on our service? Next, you want to show them your marketing material. And you want to ask them their opinion and obtain their feedback on it. You want to show any marketing ideas, techniques you're doing, trade shows, anything like that, and obtain their suggestions and feedback on it. And what the idea here, you want to have an open discussion to where the clients are doing 95% of the talking, and you want your clients in the room discussing this and debating it with you in some cases and so forth. Next, and this is critical, this is where it all comes together. You want to pass out a questionnaire to them and explain to them that you'll be contacting them in the next week or 2 to follow up with them on the questionnaire. And this should be a one-on-one meeting. Now, the good thing about client advisory board marketing is that this is something that many people across the organization can participate in, particularly the leaders of the firm, the senior people of the firm, or if you're solo practitioners yourself, you might want to join with a colleague. But you really want to, this is designed to work across the business. Now, that questionnaire you're going to send out to your client, basically has similar sort of questions that you're asking more one-on-one questions. So once you meet with the client one-on-one, the questionnaire you're going through with that client is, what do you think of our team? When you mention our name of our firm, what comes to mind? Next, you want to ask, why do you do business with us? What value have you been receiving from us, from your perception? What questions do you have on how we can improve our marketing how we improve our marketing? How can we improve the relationship for you? Once again, I'm using the 95-5 rule. I want the client doing majority of the talking. I'm just there to facilitate the discussion. And the key one here, are there any individuals or groups that you feel we should be talking to, speaking with? And I might also say we've included some of our recent marketing materials. I appreciate your comments on it. And please share with us anything else you have. This is a one-on-one meeting with your top clients that you're doing at least once a year. Bring them in part of your marketing process and acquisition. And it works extremely well. And so I would encourage you to give client advisory marketing, certainly a try. So there's 3 techniques there that we've just discussed: LinkedIn referrals, letters of introduction, and client advisory board marketing for the existing clients. Categorize your top clients and continually to meet with them. Now, the next group of clients, I just got a couple of questions that have popped up, and some people submitted some questions beforehand. One of the questions that I received was, on LinkedIn, is there an ideal number of people that you should have connected to before, you start trying to use LinkedIn? In other words, how many connections do you have? I think that's what it means. I would be striving initially to have 200 to 300 LinkedIn connections. I'm not talking about your relatives and your work colleagues. Connections to your clients, their suppliers, their network, people that make sense for you, that could be buyers for your goods and services. Try to aim for about 200 to 300. Once you have that happening, it starts to build momentum for you. You get a lot of choices to go with there. Don't forget, if you have any other questions, you can submit some direct questions to me, and I'll answer them as we go along. The next category we're going to discuss is prospective clients. Now, these are clients that are in your pipeline. You probably, more likely, you have met them. You might have submitted a proposal to them, but for various reasons, they're not able to do business with you at this time. However, you do want to remain on their radar screen to obviously keep things alive, and when they're ready to go, you want to be there. In other words, as they say, if they have an itch, you want to be there to scratch it for them. So here's some techniques that I'm going to show you of how to stay on a client's radar screen until they're ready to buy. This one I really love: periodic update marketing. And this does 2 purposes. Number one, it allows you to stay on someone's radar, but it also gives you the opportunity to cleanse your list. There's going to be times you're going to have people in your pipeline, prospective clients, that move on, change positions in the organization, or various things happen. And so you can keep your list updated, particularly as your prospective pipeline client list grows. And with this technique, basically twice a year, you want to send your clients a single-page letter with its sorted enclosures. So a single-page letter, and all you're saying there in this single-page letter is just saying, Mr. Client, I just wanted to update you since our last discussion on what we've achieved. We've been working in these industries. We've had new people join our team. It's just a single-page letter on a quick update on what you're doing. I would also enclose various enclosures. These could be articles. These could be tip sheets, or other IP that you might have created over the last year. I'm a big fan of clip and read, and I do that both electronically and in hard copy. Matter of fact, just recently for a client, I spotted something in one of the U.S. publications that could be a benefit this person here in Australia. And I shot it off to them, and they're very appreciative of it. And that's a great idea of periodic updates that allows you a couple of times a year to stay in front of your clients and send them worthwhile information. Technique number 2 is newsletter marketing. I think every professional should be generating a newsletter. These are low cost, high value tools that will allow you to continuously stay in front of someone. And these can be done in electronic or hard copy. Now, consistency is important. Some professionals do monthly, some do bi-monthly, and some do quarterly. My bias is either monthly or bi-monthly. Quarterly I found just to be a bit too long. I would also suggest that you design these yourself. So what I mean by that is, so there are some firms out there that will, for a fee, allow you to, will help you produce material that's the same for everyone else. So your best is if you can create this yourself. This is very low cost. And by the way, to put a newsletter together with the right tools, it's about an hour a month. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that all at once. It's really not a lot of time to get these out, and has a lot of value. If you're going to have something on your website, or when someone does offer to join your newsletter, a little note to them: thanks for joining our updates. Here's what you can expect each month or quarter, or whatever the case may be. It just gives clients a little bit extra here. Just a question here that's been asked. I'm reserved when connecting to clients on LinkedIn. The concern I have is that I have a lot of insurance brokers as LinkedIn connections. Like us assessing clients' connections, I harbor concerns that brokers may tap into my network of clients. Your feedback on this? My feedback on this is, do not connect with insurance brokers or your competitors, okay? Two concerns, my two answers on that one is, I generally reserve my LinkedIn connections to your clients and people you want to connect with and so forth. But by the way, because you have your connections on there, no one can identify if they're clients of yours or not. So LinkedIn doesn't say these are my clients. They're simply a collection of names of individuals. So no one really knows if they're the clients or not. So that's the number one thing. But secondly, my bias is not to connect to my buddies or other competitors. I want to connect with people that I want to potentially do business with and so forth. But to answer your question, rest assured that no one knows who. They can see who you connected with and how you connected with them, but they don't know if you're their client or not, or what the relationship is along the way there. Okay, so newsletter marketing, easy to do. 30 minutes to an hour per month to do it. New announcement marketing. Oh, this is a wonderful opportunity to let everyone know what you've been doing. So I believe all professionals, whether you're insurance, wealth managers, risk managers, whatever the case may be, we're all improving our capabilities during the year. You go to conferences, you have PD days, if the new employees join your team, let people know you have new capabilities. And this can be done by hard copy or email. And a little script there on the bottom, we're pleased to announce that we're now offering X. So I've been dealing with some clients, some insurance brokerage clients, and I've been helping to make the transition from being insurance advisors to risk advisors. It's a whole different perception. It's made it a lot easier for them to obtain appointments and position themselves much more effectively than their competitors. And for a few of them, once they got this down right and we got the package down right, they announced to their clients that we're now offering risk assessment capabilities within our firm. And it's a whole different way of going to the market and different way of approaching the marketplace. But we're all acquiring new skills on a regular basis, and let our clients know, because we take it for granted that they know everything that we do, and guess what? They don't. I love this one for prospective clients. Email marketing. Now, when I speak of email marketing, I'm not talking about email blasts. I'm speaking of doing very customized, tailored, handwritten, individually written, you can't handwrite an email, for an individual buyer that positions you as a knowledgeable expert. So, you want to compile a list of buyers and their names and get their email addresses. And one resource, I don't have it here in front of me, but there's a resource that will allow you to, I think it's called Hunter, to track down people's email addresses. And what it does, it allows you to quickly, you can type in the name and of the company, and it'll give you the email convention. In other words, they use the first name, full stop, and last name, or first name and initial, whatever the case may be. And from there, you can figure out how to grab an email address. But the more important thing is, you want to look for triggering events that signal a need for your service. I'm going to talk about triggering events a little bit later. But when you can write handcrafted emails, and what you want to do when you write these, you are highlighting a potential problem or opportunity that's of importance to that particular client or a prospective client, and position yourself as an opportunity to help them solve it. And the sample script, I understand that you're facing X, whatever the problem is, high turnover or increased accident rates, whatever the case may be. I like this because email marketing is very direct, it's very personal, and you can follow this up fairly quickly with the phone call along the way. And sometimes when they're written really well, I have enclosed value pieces with it, a link, and sometimes clients have called me. I had a great case a few years ago. I actually wrote a direct email to a particular organization, and I enclosed a link to a value piece of a case study. And I told the client my plans to call you in the next couple of days to see if we can, to explore this further and see if it makes sense for us to have a brief conversation. They called me before I can call them. So when you write these well enough and hit the right need, it does work. Just got another question here. Someone asked, thanks. However, connecting with brokers does enable market insights and adds industry knowledge. Yep, that was the follow-on question. The first one, that is true. It's up to you, but answering the previous question, no one knows who your clients are on LinkedIn, and use your judgment there. The third category of people is what I call centers of influences. Now, centers of influences are people that they may not be clients, or they can be, but more importantly, they can direct business to you. They can pave the way, they can provide knowledge and information to you. Sometimes your centers of influence can be your top clients, your A and B clients. For example, there's going to be times to when your clients have finished buying from you. Okay, they're still going to be clients. They still need to be serviced. Their needs still be monitored, but they bought all they can buy from you. You're doing 100% of their program. You got 100% of all their services. All that's left now is for you just to monitor and adjust the coverage levels, if we're using an insurance example, for instance. Or in life insurance, they bought all the insurance they need to buy. So in that case, these people can move to what I call centers of influences. They can provide you with introductions, referrals, insights to help you identify new opportunities. Now, I recommend that all professionals have at least 10 centers of influences that you meet with on a quarterly basis. And by nurturing this along the way, it provides you with a steady stream of leads throughout the year. And for some professionals, this is all they do. They've mastered centers of influences, and they continuously have a steady stream of information for them. Here's some techniques. Annual update marketing. So I would, if you have some centers of influences, get them all together. And just like your client advisory board, I would invite your 10 centers of influences to networking dinner or lunch, and just update on what you're doing, update them on your marketing. It gets a chance for them to meet. These are non-competing professionals. A chance for them to talk. By the way, in your office, using your office as much as possible for some of these techniques is important. You know, I treat boardrooms, meeting rooms, and offices as like airlines. Unless they're being used outside of staff meetings, a lot of these things sit empty. So unless there's a client meeting there, they're not making you any money. And so by using these for your client advisory board meetings, for your annual updates, you're turning your office into a money-making activity center. And some of you have great offices. Use these to your advantage along the way, so you can host events in your offices, and as I said, turn that empty space into marketing dollars, or certainly as a marketing resource. So annual marketing update to your centers of influence is a great activity, easy to do, low cost, and it will still provide you with a steady stream of referrals. Quarterly dinner marketing. This is an opportunity for your best influencers to meet your top clients. Don't forget, these are non-competing professionals. And so therefore, offer them the chance to meet your clients. They might have some resources that might be of benefit to your client. So I will hold a quarterly dinner or cocktail function that's presented a short talk of interest by one of your centers of influences who has given you lots of referrals, or is very likely to in the future. So you might have an estate attorney that's part of your centers of influence, an accountant, or anyone like that. A doctor, for instance, can talk about the latest flu, the flu virus that's going around. It could be of interest to your clients. But you know what? You're going to be seen as a hero because you're bringing in someone of interest that your clients love hearing. They've got a chance to have a drink and meet some quality professionals along the way. And this is a really superb technique for both your existing clients and your centers of influence, who also get exposure to clients, to clients, and have a chance to broaden their base, and they're going to, even reward you more, in the future. Lunch and learn. This is another favorite of mine. It's an opportunity to learn from, it's an opportunity to obtain referrals without asking for them. That's what this is all about. So what we want to do is to have a lunch roundtable discussion. Use your boardroom, use your meeting room, whatever the case may be. Put on some sandwiches. Bring in a topic of interest for them. It could be a local author who's coming in to speak. Excuse me. A local author who's coming in to speak. A book reading. It could be, the actuary from a life company or one of the underwriters, wherever the case may be. Have them come in, just bring a talk. But the way this works is, I ask my guests, my center of influence or key client, to bring along a non-client guest, a colleague or whatever. And when they're there, so if you have five guests there, and they bring along a guest each, that's 5 prospective clients in there. After the event's over, I would approach one-on-one my guest, my client guest, and ask them, who's that referral? Could you tell me a little bit of information about them? Would you feel comfortable, so I don't feel as a stranger? I think they could value from some of the services that I've been providing you. Would you be happy to provide me the letter of introduction, or at least a phone call, let them know I'll be contacting them? That's what I mean by a lot of these techniques are interchangeable and can be, used, combined together. So Lunch and Learn is a wonderful opportunity to gain referrals without having to ask for it. Networking. When I ask people about networking, it's one of those topics that's widely discussed and poorly executed. Networking is not about collecting business cards. Networking is not about working the room. My definition of networking is about helping other professionals obtain new business. Now that might sound counterintuitive, but what I mean by that is, if I'm able to identify some professionals, non-competing professionals, and I'm able to help them to gain business, they also are going to feel compelled and want to reciprocate and help me with my business. So I want to learn everything about them. I want them to know everything about me, so we can spot opportunities and leads for each other to grow our respective businesses. Now, there's several ways you can achieve this. You can join a networking club. BNI, and there's many others out there. You can network within an occupation. So for instance, in the construction industry, there might be suppliers there or other professionals dealing that, so you can actually specialize just in that particular industry. I know one professional that has dealt with architects. He's in the wealth business, and there's some architects that specialize in just family-owned businesses and family members, and they build them homes for their self-managed superannuation funds. They're managing superannuation funds. They want to move in the real estate industry. They got a block of land. This architect designs the houses for them, either for rentals or for the other types of investments. It's a very, very niche market, and this has worked extremely well. So you can network within occupation. Prospect pathing. This is using LinkedIn and 6 degrees of separation. So on LinkedIn, you want to go back and play that little game again and work out who knows who and how you connected to them. And the theory with prospect pathing is that we're all about just 6 degrees away from anyone that we want to meet. And so when you worked out how someone's connected and how you're connected with them, you simply ask that person for an introduction to that person, and eventually you will meet your prospective client. You can join special interest groups. Build your own network. This works really well. So you can select, 5, 6, 7, 8 professionals, different ones, and agree to meet, once a quarter with the sole objective of learning about each other's business and identifying needs. So in other words, you're starting your own BNI club in a way, but you own it and it's yours. And finally, you can network with new acquaintances. You meet people all the time. Get to network with them. When you network with them, you want to find the goal is how can you help them, and you want to learn as much about their business, and over time tell them about your business, and hopefully together you can provide them with leads. You want to get leads from them, provide leads yourself. But network marketing in the fashion I've identified here is very powerful and works extremely well. Okay, so those are new opportunities. Those are centers of influence. The last category I want to discuss, and actually I'm going to do this now. I'm going to throw a poll. I'm just launching a poll now, and just I'm interested in how many methods of prospecting methods you use: 0, 1, 2 to 5, or 5 plus. I'll leave it open for a while, and I'll come back to it. The last opportunity, the last group of people is called new opportunities. And these are new things. You're reading the paper, you're driving around, you spot just people you love to have as clients, but you don't have a pathway to get there. So I want to show you some techniques beyond cold calling that will get you in there, at least get you a hearing and fill your pipeline. The first one is seminar marketing. There are tons of organizations out there that want an expert to interpret what's going on in the world. So if you're a stockbroker, people like to know what's happening in the market. So what's affecting, is the price of oil going to remain at, whatever it is? If you're in insurance, people are very curious now, if the hurricane's happening over the United States, what will that do to our rates here in Australia or New Zealand or wherever you might be on this call? If you are if you are a risk manager, what's the latest in occupational health safety? How can we reduce our workers' comp premium rates? So these are just, people want information, and there's a lot of organizations out there that have regular speakers. And so, for instance, business clubs, there's a host of business. Some of these are membership clubs, to where they're always looking for speakers to come along to present. And fresh ideas, fresh perspective. This is not an opportunity for you to sell and market your services. It's an opportunity to display your knowledge, and through networking and afterwards and so forth, you will obtain business. Service organizations such as Rotary and Lions, they hold meetings weekly. I'm based in the state of Victoria. I think Victoria is like 200 Rotary clubs alone. So you could be speaking at a breakfast, lunch, or dinner meeting, on a regular basis, presenting your expertise. And the people in the audience are business owners, entrepreneurs that have pressing issues in their mind that you might be able to address for them. I tell people, if you're going to speak at Rotary clubs, though, just remember, You don't have to eat all the rubber chicken dinners that they serve you. Churches, your churches have congregations. The congregations are made up of business people, business owners, entrepreneurs. They have subcommittees. They're always looking for topics, and believe it or not, they have meetings. And so you can get a captive market there by just going in and speaking to them. I have a colleague that specializes in churches. He helps the ministers shows ministers how to market their church, how to keep their congregation engaged and obtain referrals for new possible congregation members. It's a very, very specialized market. He's very good at it. And the churches he's worked with have had some incredible results. And finally, adult education programs. You know, your TAFEs, your universities run additional courses. I'm called outplacement courses, but they run a variety of courses in the evenings for the adult market. You don't have to necessarily enroll in a whole university for it. And I know of 3 risk professionals that have taught, and some of them are still teaching at universities at night on risk management. And they're meeting, obviously, the students who are, in some cases, business owners, in some cases, they're students, but nevertheless, they're conveying their knowledge out there. They have done very well in their career, both professionally and personally, as they have enhanced their own presentation skills. But more importantly, they've helped market their firm indirectly by just doing these seminar marketing. So take a look at these. There's a directory called the Australian Directory of Associations, published by Crown Content, that at last count, there's 7,000, just in Australia, there's 7,000 associations that are holding regular meetings that you could be marketing to. The next category, special report marketing. This is packaging your expertise into reports and articles in an effective way to warm up a cold call. So if you're going to warm up a cold call, here's a way to do it. So basically, you want to create your material into tip sheets, articles, so forth. And you want to keep them down to 1 to 5 pages. I previously have used to do these 5-7 pages long. I have now reduced it down to maybe 1 or 2 pages. Don't be promotional, and use high quality paper. So if you're only doing a few at a time, you know, go down to your printer, go to the stationery store, Office Works or whatever, and buy some good stock paper so you can run it yourself. If you're doing a large number, go to your printer. One thing I will advise you to do, if you do any kind of special report, and these could be infographics, have them professionally designed. Write the content yourself, but have them professionally designed. And it'll cost you, you know, I had a report done about 2 years ago. It cost me $100 to get a graphic artist to take my content and drop it in a nice little professional format. That's a one-time cost. I've been using that over and over again now for the last 2 to 3 years. So those are just one-time costs. They're not expensive, but it gives you that professional look and feel to everything that you do. And also they can, if you have an existing brand, they can help you match it to your brand. But special report marketing works extremely well, extremely powerful, and you should just like you're adding new capabilities, you should regularly be packaging your expertise, the problems you solve for clients, and the case studies. It's just a nice way so that when you send an email or call someone, you can say, well, here's an example of the type of work that we do, and then you can just follow them up in whatever means you're going to use. Trigger event marketing. I said I'll come back to this. This one is, once again, one of those most powerful things you can do for new opportunities. So a trigger event is something that's taking place in or outside your clients' and prospects' world that could indicate a need for your services. And so let me give you an example. I'm going to use an extreme example here, but it's a real live example. In the United States, each year, the NBA holds a college draft. These are the most promising college players, the best in the world, that are hoping to, you know, get their big break in the NBA and be amongst one of those 70 people that it's drafted. Now, if you're drafted into the NBA, that's could be millions and millions of dollars to you. But what if you're injured or hurt and cannot participate in the draft? And that's a triggering event. So right now, there are specialists in the United States that specialize in the college market and working with their agents or their families to, when they recognize these names come up, and we all know who the top draft picks are going to be, you start to market to them to take out some coverage, and just in case, the accident coverage, in case they're injured. Now, there's drafts across all codes around the world, from rugby to AFL to soccer and things like that. So this event, if you're in sports insurance, this event can work for you. But this event also works across any industry. Every day when you read the paper or just follow the news, there are things happening out there, what are called triggering events. Companies merging, companies closing, new people being hired. Those are all triggering events that could signal a need for your services. Reach out to them, let them know your capabilities. And the way you do that, by using things like Google Alerts to alert you to these. I mentioned the newspaper. Your centers of influences, this is where your centers of influences in your advisory board play a big part to help you keep abreast of these changes, and in some cases can provide you with the introductions or at least the best way to approach this marketplace. And when you approach a marketplace like this, when you're using a triggering event, you now have a valid reason for making contact with them, because you're not trying to sell your services. You're actually trying to help them with the potential problem that they have. They may have recognized it, or you're bringing it to their attention. So it's a very clever way of marketing. It's a very subtle way of marketing, and it works great. And it's a nice way to fill your pipeline, keep your pipeline, filled. You can do, 2 of these a day, 10 a week, and you'll slowly start to convert these over into opportunities. And the last technique is nonprofit marketing. Now, nonprofit marketing is something that's not taken advantage of enough. Now, when I speak of nonprofits, I'm not talking about your local footy club, although that they could have a part in this. Nonprofits are your arts, the music, education. There's tons of places where executives, business owners, entrepreneurs are donating their time and expertise. And you have an opportunity to be a part of that and get to know them and work with them. I know of one lady that joined the symphony orchestra, and to get on one of the committees there, and she had a chance to rub shoulders with executives. So what you want to do is put together a list of the different organizations around your city. Categorize these by size, type, and your interests. Offer your services pro bono to them. So offer to serve as the secretary, as the treasurer, as a leadership position, or jump on committees. And when you do, you're rubbing shoulders with other entrepreneurs and so forth. And you got a chance to talk shop and explain some of the challenges they're facing, and you get a chance to address some of the things that you do and the ways that you've done it before. Also, quite often they're looking for speakers, and you have a chance to speak. A question here from S. Alexander. Is there a particular time of day you should make contact with possible prospects? The answer is no. And I know some people tell you 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the evening. Here's the reality of this. When you're contacting a new prospect, chances are you're going to have to make 8 or 9 attempts before you reach them. And that's simply because they're busy, unavailable, traveling, whatever the case may be. And so, you're going to have to make 8 or 9 attempts to reach them. And so the time of day doesn't really matter. I recommend, though, that in your calendar, you should have time blocked out for marketing activities, whether it be follow-ups, and doing some of these other things and so forth. So when you do make contact with someone, reach out to them, note in your diary when you're going to follow up with them, and always in your material tell someone the time and date you're going to follow up with them, so that at least they can come to expect it. But there's no perfect or ideal time. So these are 15 marketing techniques. Now here's how you implement these things. Firstly, number one, do not try to do all these ideas. it can be overwhelming. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. I'll come to this. I'll come to that in a second. But I would encourage you to walk away with just 3 or 4 things you can implement immediately, and keep an open mind. Now, everything I presented to you today is road tested. There's no theory here. These are all techniques that are being used by top professionals, people that I've trained myself, and other top professionals I've coached, observed, and worked with, from some cases around the world. So you want to look really for the core idea and the idea behind it, and ask, how can I adapt that for my current situation or my current business? And that's the way you work with these along the way. Now, I mentioned that this is just tip of the iceberg. I presented 15 ideas. There's actually about 50 of these, of the best. I'll give you 15 today. I was in New Zealand not long ago. I think I did 29 or 30 there, and so forth. So there's you know, a lot more there. There's some other resources here. You know, I have a book published, Financial Services Handbook, and a new book coming out, Cross-Selling Financial Services, that's due out in November. You know, grab a copy if you're so inclined. But on my website, there's articles, there's a blog. Feel free to go on there and, you know, have a hunt around, download the stuff. You know, it's free. Connect with me. What I presented today is the tip of the iceberg. If you'd like to talk about working together, coming to your organization, we can then customize some of these topics, these approaches, so that they fit your needs, sample scripts, ideal wordings that you should be using, and even working out approaches that work best for you, and so forth along the way. Regardless of whatever you do, I like you to stay in touch. I'll be doing more of these, but feel free to connect with me on my website, by Twitter, LinkedIn. You'll get copies of the slides and the recordings along the way. Well, I hope you've gotten something out of this today. I've certainly enjoyed delivering it, and thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks again, and have a great day.